Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in everybody. Today I will be making a way too early tier list for the new Bazaar items. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and subscribe. Let's get into the video. Starting with tiers, S, broken, meta defining. A, strong, able to be used in a variety of builds. B, somewhat powerful or used in a few builds. I would say it's just kind of like, it really is just A, but downsized a little bit. C, fringe, situational, or just on the weaker side. D, bad item, rarely used. Starting off, we have bladed hoverboard. This item is a medium weapon, tech, aquatic, and vehicle item, and it has the effect to give adjacent items a cooldown of 10%, and when an adjacent item is used, it deals 20 damage. I think hoverboard is okay. I feel like there's a weird in-between with hoverboard, where if you want the cooldown, there's better items, like Star Chart, and if also hoverboard doesn't give the most damage ever. I think in general it's a solid item. I think it could have a place in some boards. I don't necessarily think it's like game defining or anything. I'm gonna put it in B tier. Next up we have Cauterizing Blade. This is a medium weapon and tech item, and it has the effect to deal 20 damage and burn 2 every 5 seconds. It's also a quest item where you can either scale it with haste or slow after you haste or slow 10 times. Once the quest is unlocked, every time you slow or haste, depending on how your quest went, the blade will gain 10 damage and 2 burn for the fight. For me, I really feel like this item just seems like a worse version of Shark Ray or Mantis Shrimp, and I think it really just kind of comes down to the item tags. And also, I really like how Shark Ray scales its damage, which I think is more potent than scaling the damage and the burn to a lesser extent. So in my opinion, I think Ray and Shrimp are better. This item doesn't blow me away, even with all the new synergies. I'm going to put it in B tier. Cyber Psy is a medium weapon and tech item. It has the effect to deal 5 damage every 5 seconds, has a crit chance of 10%, and the first 3 times you crit with this item prevent all damage you take for the next 1 second. I just kind of feel like this item's really janky, and I think it's too janky to be successful. You need to have a really high crit chance to get invulnerability with any sense of consistency, and if I don't have a 100% crit chance, I honestly worry. I've played enough XCOM to know that you're not always going to hit a 99% chance to hit, and that worries me. And I also feel like I'm really struggling to figure out what kind of boards would appreciate this item. In general, for me, just because of those little things, I'm going to put it in D tier. Next up we have Dart Launcher. Dart Launcher is a small weapon tech item. Every 4 seconds it deals 5 damage. If it's next to a slow item, it slows 1 item for 1 second, and if it's adjacent to a poison item, it poisons 3. It also has 4 ammo. When I first saw this item, I thought it was absolutely broken, because I still see early game poison and think it's nuts. Now I'm not so sure. Again, I'm a Bazaar Unk, I've been playing since closed beta. 3 poison used to be a lot day 1. Now that you hit level 2 on day 1, it's not as much. Things like catfish and jellyfish are still good, but they're not as insane as they used to be. I don't know, I still think poison can be viable early days, but this item isn't going to be the early game poison enabler, so to speak. I think it'll be decently solid your first few days or so. It could be stronger depending on how the slow enchant changes with upgrades. For example, if it slows 2 items for a second, or if it super slows 1 item. We'll have to see how the slow enchant, not enchant, but upgrade changes on it as it upgrades. We'll have to see. B tier for me right now. Integrated HUD is a small apparel and tech item that gives the item to the right of it 10% crit chance. Additionally, when you crit with the item to the right of it, you slow 1 item for 1 second. I think HUD is a decent item to just throw into your board if you already have a lot of crit already. You can just kind of throw it on your fastest activating item and just provide a ton of crit. It also works really well with items like Oni Mask as it provides both crit and slow for the mask. I don't think it's broken, but I do think it's pretty decent. Let's throw it in B tier. Next up we have Kusarigama, which I hope I said right, and that's a small weapon and tech item. Every 6 seconds it deals 5 damage and slows an item for 1 second. It also has the effect of when you slow or crit, this and adjacent weapons gain 5 damage for the fight. Now, in my last video, some people were saying I was sleeping on this item. I still don't know if I fully agree. I understand that in a way it is the train skill as well as the improvised weaponry skill, and I think it is solid, and it can be good damage with a couple items, but I see it and I still think of either Jitty or Jite, something like that, however you pronounce that item, which just isn't a powerful item. And for that, I'm going to put this in B tier. I think Trained is very strong, especially early, but don't think it scales late game, and I think might be okay early, might even be strong early. I don't see it. I don't think that item's gonna like carry your runs. It's B tier for me. Next up we have Oni Mask. That's a medium apparel and tech item. It has an 8-second cooldown and the effect to burn 3. When you crit, your burn items gain +3 burn for the fight. When you slow, Oni Mask is charged for 2 seconds. I think Oni Mask compares pretty closely with Lighthouse or the Fish. It is worse up front, but it definitely has better scaling potential. I think in general, I don't really trust things that rely on you critting to be super good. Definitely could be wrong here, but in general, like I said earlier, unless you have 100% crit or a very high % crit chance, I just don't trust crit items to actually crit when you need them to. So, because of that, I think there will be certain board states where this item is very strong. For the most part though, it does worry me, and I'm going to put it in C tier. Next up we have Shuriken. Shuriken is a small weapon with an 8-second cooldown, has the effect to deal 5 damage, and it has multicast equal to its current ammo. When you use this for the first time, you spend all of its ammo. Now, I love Shuriken, and I think it's super cool. In terms of item rankings though, I don't rate it too highly to be honest. I think it has the potential to be really, really powerful if you can get the damage high enough, like something like Figurehead, but that could be a really difficult task. Additionally, it kind of has that grenade problem where grenade is super strong, and it does a big burst of damage, but then it's kind of just sitting there for the rest of the fight, and even though it front loads a bunch of damage, it might not compare as well as some other items that do a bunch of damage. You know, that's an issue. I also see it being really effective in something maybe like Cannonade or Trebuchet builds, so you can provide a ton of different item procs for it, but honestly, it is really cool, I really like it, but I do think it's C tier, unfortunately. Next up we have Stealth Glider. Stealth Glider is a large vehicle and tech item, and it gives your items 20% crit chance. Additionally, you take no damage for the first 3 seconds of the fight, and the first time you use an item each fight, lose all damage reduction. Stealth Glider gets better the later the game goes, as fights get faster and faster later into the game. However, I do feel like 3 seconds of invuln actually isn't as great as it sounds. Some fights do start that fast, but even late game, a lot of them don't start at 3 seconds, and it's very rare as well that an opponent would kill you in 3 seconds or deal that much damage to you in 3 seconds. This item does give some crit chance, which is nice, but it really just kind of does nothing for 3 board slots. I don't think it'll be good. Maybe if it gives more invuln at higher tiers, but for now I want to put it in D tier. Last and the best, we have Wetwear, which is a medium aquatic apparel and tech item with an 8-second cooldown. It has the effect to shield for 10. Additionally, when you use a weapon item, it gains 20 shield for the fight. Also, if you have another tech item, this item's cooldown is reduced by 2 seconds. I think this is nuts. And I do worry about finding a tech to enable your Wetwear, as most of the techs are just going to be other items within this expansion. However, I'm not necessarily sure you need another tech item to make this item nutty. You can run this in a full red numbers Vanessa scaling build, and this just gives you all the defense you could ever need. 20 shield per weapon proc at bronze is absolutely insane. This won't necessarily scale super well into the late game. It kind of reminds me of Robe in that way, where Robe just dominates early game, but it's not a late game item. I think this thing's insane though. S tier. This is like the kind of item that gets you to like 7 wins in my opinion. Maybe not that high, maybe 5. Still insane. Okay, let's talk Pyg. Display Case is a medium tool item with the effect to give adjacent items +2 value at the start of the fight. When an item with value over 10 is used, you shield for 20. Now, I think this item's cute, and it's a fun Pyg item because it's always fun to add value to stuff, and you're like, yay, value. But I just kind of feel it's niche. And maybe there is a niche for adding value to some items like Money Tree, but at the end of the day, I kind of just see this as a worse bad blocker, which is already kind of niche, and for me that makes this C tier, maybe even D tier. Next up we have Money Furnace. Money Furnace is a medium property and tool item that has a 10-second cooldown and burns equal to the item's value. At the start of each fight, you can spend 5 gold to increase the item's value by 3. If it's your only property, it has double value in combat. Honestly, I see Money Furnace, and I kind of feel like it's a worse version of Luxury Kiwas. I'm not convinced you'll just be able to scale this thing enough to make it meaningful. Maybe with value stacking builds it could be good enough. Maybe if you run some of the other value stacking tools from this expansion. Maybe you just ignore the fact that it double values if it's your only property, and you still just run it with other property scaling things. I don't know. I love the flavor though. The fire gets bigger the more money you throw into it, but I just don't think the item's good. I'm gonna put it in C tier. Next up we have Pigglestorm Gaming House, which is a large property item with a 6-second cooldown and the effect to give your weapon, shield, and heal items +5 for the fight, and your burn items +1 for the fight. Additionally, when you use a toy or friend item, this item is charged for 2 seconds. So there definitely are a few toy items coming along in this expansion, and I think this one is pretty solid. Running things like Yo-Yo and Slingshot now is pretty good, and I think running those with this item is very good. And then you can kind of just run various toys along with it. I don't think this item is super broken, like I don't think it's the Jabalian drum for your toy builds, but I do think it's pretty solid, especially early, and I think for that it warrants a place in B tier. Next up we have Piggles Board. Piggles Board is a medium toy item and has the effect when you use a toy, charge another toy for 1 second. I think this item can honestly be pretty nutty. If you just run full toy spam as well as the final item that I'll talk about later, this is really good. Like you can just run full toys, go to work. It reminds me of Model Ship a fair bit, but not exactly like that, but then it also affects your whole board. I think this will be really strong with all the new toy synergies, Yo-Yo, Slingshot as always, everything like that. I'm gonna throw in A tier. I think it's a pretty solid item. Let's see, next up we have Piggle Launcher. Piggle Launcher is a medium tool and weapon that deals 10 damage, shield, and healing, and 1 burn every 7 seconds. Additionally, when a toy is used, this item is charged for 1 second. Obviously, this item gets 4 times scaling of Pigglestorm Gaming House. Beyond that, though, I'm not incredibly impressed by this thing. I don't think it's going to be super insane, but it's okay, and maybe if you are running a bunch of pig spam, pig toy spam, you can just throw it in there and it's okay. But pretty underwhelming, and it does take up 2 slots, so I'm gonna put it in C tier. Piggles Protectors is a small toy item that every 6 seconds it shields for 4. In addition, it has double shield, and when you use an adjacent item, this item gains 2 shield for the fight. Now, I think this could be okay for providing some shield early in your toy build. I kind of feel like it doesn't scale super duper hard, and it might be a little underwhelming. Maybe like silver or gold tier a little better. It might be nice though if you're running your toy charge builds, as it's another toy to charge, but it also provides just a little bit of defense if you don't have a way to get it elsewhere. In general though, I would say probably a C tier item again, so let's put it up there. Next up we have Premium Piggles. Premium Piggles has the effect to give adjacent small items a cooldown reduction of 1 second and +5 value in combat. After you win a fight, you get a Premium Piggle. At the start of each day, upgrade a random Premium Piggle. I think this item's insanely broken. If you... reducing 2 small items cooldown by a full second is completely nuts. And I don't know if there's much more to say than that. I mean, you get the Piggles, which I'll talk about in a sec, and you also get +5 value in combat. That's not the point. Taking a second off your small items is insane. You can make Matchbox go back to 4 seconds. You could have Pen FT on a 1 second cooldown. You can do crazy ridiculous things with this. This is a nuts item to pick up as like any other hero too. I think this thing is broken. I think it'll probably have that text removed. That is a crazy effect. Hopping into the premium Piggles themselves, I'm going to save some time and rope them together. They're all small toy items. They all have cooldowns of 8 seconds. And they all have their cooldowns reduced by 1% depending on how much healing, burn, shield, or damage they have. In general, if you can max these out and get a ton of burn, heal, shield, damage, or whatever on these Piggles, they're insane. And if you can get them to that 1 second threshold, they're turbo broken. Like, 1 second burn Piggle would be so cracked. I think in practice, though, the only one that will end up being like this is red Piggles, maybe green Piggles, because I just think you can only really scale damage like that. I don't think you can scale burn like that. You can scale shield like that, but it's hard. I think healing comes a little more naturally. So, for that reason, I'm going to put red Piggles in C, because it might have a way to be like at lateral light, basically. Still hard to scale, but these ones are way harder to scale, so they're going to go in D. But I think there's a chance you could see, you know, late game red Piggles in like a Jabalian drum build, and I think that'd be completely fair. Okay, next up we have Sponsored Apparel, which is a medium apparel item with the effect that at the start of each fight, this is in play, you spend 8 gold to increase the value of all your items by 1. When you use a toy, you shield equal to 1 times that toy's value. I am not a believer in the value toy build, which we will learn a little more about with the next item too. I think this item could be an okay value generator for PvE fights and maybe PvP fights if you're really strong, but You have to put it in play, which is rather restrictive. It does give a lot of value because it'll buff your whole board and your whole stash, so maybe you can keep a bunch of stuff in your stash, sell it all, whatever. And it might be a good way to either increase the value of your board while going neutral or making some gold. However though, I just think it's too clunky on both fronts, especially because you have to keep it on your board. Because of that, and you spend 8 gold, it's D tier for me. Next up we have Streaming Setup, which is a medium tool and tech item with the effect that your toys have double value during combat, and adjacent tools have additional crit chance equal to 1 times their value. Like I said before, I'm just not a believer in the toy value game plan. I just don't see a way to really get your toy value up. Seems clunky to me. I don't feel like there's enough support for it. I'm putting it in D tier as well. Saving the best for last, we have Tournament Arena. This is a large property item with the effect to give toys +1 multi, and at the start of each day, you get a random toy. There are items. One for Vanessa, one for Dooley. They're called Shipwreck and Robotic Factory, and they give +1 multicast to a specific type of item. They are Diamond tier. They are Diamond tier because they have been nerfed multiple times. Eventually, this item might be Diamond tier, but right now it starts at Silver tier, which is insane. In addition to providing this extremely broken effect that can be found at Silver tier, which is much easier to find than Diamond tier, it provides income in the form of toys which it supports. This thing is super nuts. This is maybe the best econ item in the game. Off the rip. It's insane. Well, especially if you're running a toy build. It is broken in terms of econ, but it's also broken in terms of your board. But also, it fuels your board. It makes your board stronger because you're going to get random toys that'll power yourself up. You can get like 7 yo-yos. Or you can just keep getting yo-yos with this thing. Obviously, you know, statistics and whatnot. But this is insane. Super easy S tier for me. I think it's the strongest item of the set. Maybe Pickles. One of these two. These items are broken. Because this item, this is good for early game. These items are just good for the whole game, I think. Anyways, guys, that was my way too early Season 4 tier list. I hope you guys found this video enjoyable. If you did, please drop a like and subscribe. Helps the channel tremendously. Beyond that, I will have a patch notes video out very soon. As soon as the patch notes drop, I will not be streaming on patch day as I will be making 4th of July cookies with my mom and lovely girlfriend, but the day after, I will be streaming. Anyways, guys, take care, everybody. Hope you guys are all doing really, really well, and yeah, just stay happy, stay lovely, stay healthy. I'll catch you in the next one.
Just trying to get